Welcome back to another explainer. Today, we're going to break down a human superpower that honestly most people think is pure magic. We're talking about charisma. We're going to demystify magnetic appeal, strip away all that mystery, and give you a highly actionable, totally scientific framework to actually harness it yourself. So let's get right to it.
Okay, let's dive into this. Have you ever watched someone just completely captivate a room and thought to yourself, wow, they really won the genetic lottery, didn't they? We've been conditioned by society to believe charisma is something you're just born with, right? Like it's an innate gift, a switch that's either permanently flipped on or entirely off. But is that actually the truth?
The short answer? Absolutely not. The myth tells us that charisma is innate, that you literally have to be naturally outgoing, a massive extrovert, or, conventionally attractive. But the reality is beautifully different. Charisma is 100% a learned skill. It takes daily discipline and refined practice. And yes, because it's essentially just a set of learned behaviors, that means introverts can absolutely master this just as effectively as the loudest extrovert in the room.
Here's the quick roadmap for our explainer today. 1, we'll look at the great charisma myth. 2, Pillar 1, presence. 3, Pillar 2, power. 4, Pillar 3, warmth. And finally, number 5, the 4 styles of charisma.
Part 1, the great charisma myth.
Charisma is really simply defined as a set of nonverbal behaviors that get people to like you, trust you, and be led by you. And here's why understanding this specific definition changes the game completely. Because it relies on nonverbal behaviors instead of some magical, invisible aura, your charisma levels naturally fluctuate. You can actually raise or lower your charisma at any given moment just by tweaking your behavior. Honestly, no one is magnetic every single second of the day. Increasing your charisma ultimately boils down to projecting more of 3 specific ingredients: behaviors of presence, behaviors of power, and behaviors of warmth. You absolutely need all 3. But here's the catch, and it's a big one. These qualities are communicated almost entirely through your subconscious body language, which, as we know, isn't usually under your direct conscious control.
Let's move to and see how this builds. Section 2, Pillar 1, presence.
17 milliseconds. That is literally all the time it takes for the human mind to read another person's facial expressions. Crazy, right? Have you ever been in a conversation where your mind just wandered off, even for a split second? Well, the other person definitely noticed. Because our brains process faces so incredibly fast, a split-second delay in your reaction gives the other person this lingering, uncomfortable feeling that you're being inauthentic. You simply cannot fake being present. Since we can't fake it, how do we fix it? Well, I want you to literally try this mindfulness technique the next time you feel your mind drifting. If your attention slips, just briefly focus on the physical sensations in your toes. I know, it sounds a bit ridiculous, right? But focusing on something as profoundly simple and physical as your toes instantly forces your wandering mind right back into the physical present moment. It allows you to instantly refocus on the conversation with genuine 100% authenticity. All right, Section 3, Pillar 2, power. And this brilliantly illustrates what we're talking about here. Think of a silverback gorilla whose territory has just been invaded. To intimidate the rival, what does he do? He stands up and beats his chest. Why? Because it makes him look physically massive. Taking up space projects immense power. And believe it or not, alpha humans do the exact same thing subconsciously. They claim physical space in a room, maybe by draping an arm over an empty chair next to them or casually kicking their feet up on a desk. Now, you probably aren't going to have 3 extra chairs to claim in your next morning meeting. But right now, wherever you're sitting or standing, I want you to try this. Adopt an Army General pose. Put your chin up, make your back totally straight. When you adopt these poses, you biologically kickstart a scientifically proven cycle. Your body language actually tricks your brain into feeling a surge of confidence. And then that internal confidence makes you automatically readjust your posture to be even bolder, projecting even more power to the room. Moving right along to Section 4, Pillar 3, warmth. But warmth is incredibly tricky. Let me ask you, are you aware of your eyelids fluttering in front of your eyes right now? What about the exact weight of your tongue resting in your mouth? Or the precise angle of your feet? You forgot about your eyelids again, didn't you? The whole point here is that you cannot micromanage your body language. It's just impossible. And because warmth is tied entirely to involuntary actions in your eyes and the tone of your voice, you simply cannot fake it. Because you can't fake it, you have to genuinely feel it. Let's walk through this incredibly powerful thought experiment called rewriting reality. Imagine you're driving to a really important meeting and an infuriating, reckless driver just cuts you off out of nowhere. You slam on the brakes, deeply angry. and you're going to carry that hostile body language right into your meeting. But what if you suddenly found out that reckless driver was actually a deeply distressed mother rushing her choking baby to the emergency room? Your anger would evaporate instantly, wouldn't it? It would be replaced entirely by empathetic warmth. So the crucial point is summarized perfectly by this quote: choose whichever reality puts you in the most useful mental state. In real life, you're rarely going to find out if the person who cut you off was just being a jerk or if they were a panicked parent. So you have to act like a method actor. You have to actively choose to believe the reality that naturally generates the right internal state of warmth and empathy. Why? Because your body language will automatically follow whatever your mind believes. Finally, Section 5, the 4 styles of charisma. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how alternating these pillars allows you to entirely adapt to your own personality and your specific goals in any room you walk into. If you dial up presence and listening, you get focused charisma, which makes people feel deeply respected and heard. A bold vision combined with conviction creates visionary charisma. Leaning heavily into warmth, that creates kindness charisma, forging deep emotional connections. And driving heavily with power and status creates authority charisma, which naturally compels people to listen and obey. You can blend these however you need to for any situation. Which brings us to the end of our framework, and I really want to leave you with this final thought. Magnetic appeal isn't magic. It's not some exclusive VIP club you have to be born into. It is a daily, deliberate discipline of presence, power, and warmth. So I challenge you today. Look at those 4 styles. Which charisma style will you consciously choose to practice in your very next conversation? The choice is entirely in your hands. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep learning.